It began on a quiet morning in the heart of the green woods, where sunlight danced through the leaves like golden ribbons. But before we step into the peace of that forest, let me tell you something that will keep you with me until the very end. On this very day, Peter Rabbit would face a danger unlike anything he had ever known, one that would test his courage, challenge his kindness, and change the fate of the forest forever. And the question you must hold on to as you journey through this story is simple. What will Peter choose when kindness becomes the hardest choice of all? Stay with me, for the answer lies at the final moment of this tale. Peter Rabbit woke to the crisp breeze of early morning, carrying the smell of ripe berries and warm earth. His blue jacket swayed lightly as he hopped out of his burrow, stretching his paws with a smile on his face. Today felt peaceful, too peaceful, he thought. As he made his way toward the meadow, he was greeted by his sisters, Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, who were gathering clover for breakfast. Their cheerful voices filled the air, and Peter felt grateful for the life he had. Little did he know that a shadow had already begun creeping over the forest, one that wore fur like burning embers and eyes as sharp as broken glass. The first sign of trouble came from Squirrel Nutkin, who darted into the clearing panting, his tail puffed out twice its size. "Peter, there's danger at the edge of the woods. A fox, bigger than any I've seen. He's stealing food from every creature he finds." Peter's ears shot up. A fox alone was bad news, but a greedy one could bring real destruction. "Did he hurt anyone?" Peter asked, his voice firm. "Not yet," Nutkin answered, "but he's taking everything. Berries, nuts, even the cabbages near Mr. McGregor's fence." Peter felt something tighten in his chest. If the fox kept stealing, winter would be harsh for every animal in the forest. But fear whispered to him as well. Foxes were cunning, fast, and ruthless. Facing one was no simple task. Still, courage tugged at Peter's heart, and he knew he had to try. He gathered his friends, Benjamin Bunny, Nutkin, and even Mrs. Tiggy Winkle, who was small but brave in her own prickly way. Together they formed a plan to track the fox and learn his intentions. But Peter sensed this foe was not just greedy. He was hungry for more than food. He was hungry for control. When they finally reached the old oak clearing, they found the fox lounging on a stolen pile of goods: carrots, nuts, berries, even radishes. His coat glowed reddish gold, and his eyes narrowed sharply as Peter approached. "Those belong to the forest," Peter said, trying to keep his voice steady. The fox let out a cold laugh. "The forest belongs to whoever is clever enough to take it," he sneered. His name, he revealed, was Rasker, and he had no intention of leaving. In that moment, Peter realized they were facing an enemy who would not be persuaded by kindness alone. That night, Peter lay awake, thinking of the fear in his friend's eyes. He knew he had to act before Rasker spread his greed even further. But courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that something else is more important. And so Peter gathered every ounce of hope in his heart and vowed to protect his home, even if it meant standing alone. The next day brought the turning point. Peter and his friends confronted Rasker again, this time prepared with a plan. They used teamwork, Nutkin's speed, Benjamin's clever distractions, Mrs. Tiggywinkle's prickly defense, to corner the fox away from their food. But Rasker fought back fiercely. In the struggle, he slipped and fell into a deep trench near the stream, unable to climb out. The forest finally seemed safe. But then came the choice that would define Peter forever. A.S. Rasker cried out from the hole, fear mixed with desperation in his voice. "Help me, please," he called, clinging to the muddy walls. Peter's breath caught. After all the fox had done, after all the food he had taken, after all the fear he spread, why should Peter help him? Every creature around him waited for Peter's decision. But Peter looked at Rasker and didn't see a monster. He saw someone who had lost his way, someone who might change if given a chance. And so Peter reached out his paw. With Benjamin's help and Mrs. Tiggywinkle's guidance, they pulled Rasker to safety. The fox lay trembling, not from fear, but from shock. No one had ever shown him kindness before. "Why, after everything I did?" he whispered. Peter answered softly, "Because this forest isn't just a home, it's a family, and everyone deserves a chance to become better." Rasker lowered his head, shame warming his cheeks. Slowly, he returned all the stolen food, and from that day forward, he roamed the forest not as a greedy tyrant, but as a guardian who watched from the shadows, grateful for the second chance he never expected. By the end of the day, as the golden sun dipped behind the trees, Peter gathered his friends. They celebrated not just their victory, but their forgiveness, their unity, and the strength that came from choosing goodness even when it was hardest. And now, you who listened till this very moment, you know the answer to the question we began with. Peter chose kindness, not because it was easy, but because it was right. And that choice changed everything.